Hansel. So hot right now. Hansel. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. We're going to talk about 5 characters you may be modding poorly today. Keep in mind that I try to do this once a month, and not every character is a brand new character to this series. In fact, I'm fairly sure we've covered a couple of these in past other videos, but either I've understood how to mod them differently in the past, or this is just a character that's been requested so many times in the recent couple months time period that I've actually ended up, it's caught my attention and we're going to revisit them. And so even though there are some repeats, this is something that I want to do to provide to people who are asking, who want to know how to mod things better, because mods are, at their base, I mean, they're one of the most important aspects of this game, guys. And even though datacrons are here, datacrons can't cover everything. For instance, if we're going to be modding Bossk, he's one of the characters here, he's going to want protection, but the rest of his team probably wants like offense or something like that. Like, they don't all care about protection. And so even though datacrons are cool and all that, it's not going to necessarily replace really strong modding, because a datacron isn't going to apply to every single character for every single stat. Even if they could, the modding is still important. You still want as many stats as you possibly can, guys. So let's jump in and start talking about this, shall we? Whoa. We're in the game madness. Look at Bossk. He looks happy to see us. Look at how wide his grin is, guys. Jeez. What a weirdo. So he's Bossk. This is Bossk. He's a Trandoshan. A Trandoshan scoundrel bounty hunter leader tank. Dark side. He's the only tank, actually, in the bounty hunter faction. And he's a pilot of he's the tank for the most important ship and fleet currently in the game. I know the Profundity's on its way at some point, but we don't know much about that fleet. And right now, Houndstooth is still the best tank in the fleets, in any fleet. So, I have him at Relic 9, and keep in mind that's probably too much, frankly. But Bossk is asked to do a lot of really tough things, such as help assist in killing Lord Vader teams. He's asked to help you take out Darth Revan teams. Sometimes you take out the General Skywalker teams, and that, like, you do a lot of stuff. This team is his team is always super versatile, and if you have a good bounty hunter team, usually he's in the thick of it, almost always. And so there's going to be a few different iterations. First off, I'm going to point out that if he's the leader, which is less and less common, though it's still really nice. Like, he does a lot of cool stuff. Everyone, all bounty hunters, including himself, gain 50% max protection, and they gain tenacity. Now, this tenacity is fool's gold, folks. Tenacity is not something that you're going to be wanting to farm a lot, but the plus 50% tenacity, plus he gets another 60% just because he's him, because that's how he's written. That's how he, because of the way that he is. You can actually get him to decently high tenacity, but for the most part, the things that he wants to counter are not things that actually need any reason to pass a potency check against him. So what you really want, guys, is to maximize this protection stat, and even if you don't have him as lead, you still want to maximize the protection stat. But the even more important objective here, guys, is to make him fast. You want him to be as fast as you can make him to a certain degree. Remember that most bounty hunter teams are only as fast as Grief is, in fact, because what's going to happen is Bossk's first turn is almost always going to be to taunt, and that's a nice thing to be able to taunt anyways. If he does taunt first, then he also gains Frenzy. What Frenzy does is whenever someone else on your team uses a special, he gains 100% turn meter, so he gets to take another turn. And that's nice, because then he can do the mass assist, or he can do his basic if you're weird, and you can continue to move on. And so You want to keep his speed pretty high, but the team is only as fast as Grief is, and Grief needs to be 1 speed or less, or 1 speed or more slower than Bossk. Remember that Zam, with her Omicron in GAC, is going to make him another 70 to 60 to 80 speed faster, depending. I mean, maybe even a little bit more, but not too much more than that. And you're going to be countering Lord Vader, you're going to be countering Darth, Revan, all these characters that don't really care about his tenacity. So, I don't have his tenacity up at all, or his potency. He really only cares about speed and protection. One reason you want protection on him instead of health, not only because you're maximizing that extra piece of his kit where he gets 50% if he's the lead, even if he doesn't get that, you want to maximize this because if you're using like an aura lead bounty hunter team or something like that, and you're facing Darth Malak, which happens pretty consistently, you're going to be taunting. Malak is going to try force draining him, and that force drain is going to do 100% of his max health. Now, if he has a higher health value than protection, that's going to put him on the precipice, because if you can't regenerate enough protection in time, he'll just force drain you again and take you out. However, if Malak does a force drain on this Bossk specifically, he's only going to drain 84k health, which is I mean a decent amount, but you can do that twice and we'll still have, well, we won't have any protection left, but if we can regen a little bit, then it'll require him to do a third and a fourth force drain, by which time you've hopefully disintegrated the recalcitrant, jawless fool who thinks he's going to confuse all of us once Malgus comes out and we all say, oh yeah, just use Malak on that team and we'll mean Malgus, we'll mean well, but it'll be false. It will suck. So that's what you want. You also want 6 E mods on him at the very least, guys. You want him to be fast. You also want his Houndstooth to be thick. Mace Windu is a character that I continuously find confusing, guys. He wants 3 different stats really bad, so he doesn't really care about speed that much. A little bit of speed is fine, just incidental speed, but he also wants the ability to place ability block. He does ability block on basic, which is really nice because you can call him to assist. A lot of times he'll just assist by himself. If you're running him with Jedi Master Kenobi, you can stop the ironically, Bossk has a way to be able to help you 2-shot Jedi Master Kenobi teams if he's fast enough, if he's faster than Cat. However, one way you can block that is with Mace Windu, because if you have Windu with Cat, with Cat and with Snips, then if Snips is going to make an assist or something, then if you make Windu the next weakest character on the team, which means your added health and protection, then he's going to assist as well. And of course the assist only does a basic, but that basic still does ability block. So you want potency on him. You also want him to be thick because he's a tank. You want him to have a lot of health because he's traditionally going with Galactic Republic Jedi. And even if he's not, if he's with other Jedi, then I guess protection might be okay, but that health is very nice. I mean, well, his lead, I don't even know why you bother clicking on it, but he also gains 30% of max health. Like, it's nice to be able to just stack that health. And Galactic Republic just typically want that, guys. So you want that, and like the stacks of protection up that you're going to be getting and everything is certainly nice. The thing is, he's also stacking offense for this resilient defense thing. He stacks offense as well, so you want his debuffs to stick. You also want him to be able to do some damage. And so what I've ended up doing here, guys, because I want to keep his health and protection a little lower than anyone else in case I want to put him on a Kenobi team so that I can stop the 2-shot, what I do here is, so he doesn't have super high health or protection. The stats that he does have are health, the defense stuff. I put some speed on him, and then just make sure his potency is somewhere over 100 if you can, guys, because you really want to land that ability block. You really want to be able to do all the stuff. I mean, he's got a stun here. If the enemy had Shatter Point, then you stun them. And I don't know if that's automatic or not, actually. I mean, this would imply that you need a potency check, and I haven't failed it for a long time, though. He also just has a high potency. So, so here's the thing, though. So removes 50% turn meter. and that's another potency check. And then Mace gains 50% turn meter. That's not a potency check, but those two things, pretty nice stuff. Dispel all buffs. I mean, he's a good character. So this is my solution. Offense set so that he can do a little extra damage. So that's not the priority. You want him to have some potency so that he can actually stick his debuffs, which might be his most important thing. And then you want him to be as thick as you can while still kind of being the weakest on the team. It's a very precarious balance, folks, and one that you kind of need to monitor. If you have a really thick cat, then you know that can help as well. It makes him more survivable. It makes the whole team, less susceptible to shenanigans. Good character, confusing set. Make sure you have potency. Grandmaster Yoda is one that, I mean, I've talked about him a few different times. Here's the thing, guys. He doesn't want speed, really. I mean, he can have speed. Depends on what team he's on, but for the most part, like, a lot of people were using him initially with Jedi Master Kenobi, and it's such a sad pairing because he thrives so much on turn meter gain and trying to get as many turns as possible. Turn meter gain, bonus turns, etc., that he really doesn't want to go on a team that doesn't let him gain a bunch of turn meter. Like that really inhibits him. So you want him on a team that's going to have a lot of turns for him. He's gonna do the episode 2 thing where he's like jumping off the walls and acting like one of my kids after they've had like too much Kool-Aid or something. They don't actually drink Kool-Aid. I have no idea where that came from. Oh yeah. So here's the thing, guys. He's just a turn meter monster. He's also special damage, which special damage is something important to pay attention to, guys, because special damage obviously comes from a different place on his stats, and what's going to be happening is he's going to be doing damage based off of that. The special damage, though, characters who have special damage are going to be doing damage. They're going to be doing fewer crits. So he's Relic 8. That's one of the highest relics in the game, obviously. We couldn't probably increase it that much, even if we did get him to 9. Not that we want to, but you can... So his crit chance is only 41%, and that's only because I'm personally increasing it by 19%. So it's nice to be able to crit, but sometimes he'll get a buff to boost his crit chance and everything. He can crit sometimes, but the biggest thing, guys, is special offense also comes with a really high damage total. So check this out. So his special offense is, I mean, after I've boosted it quite a bit, 12,722 as opposed to 7,780, which is like 5,000 less, which means that offense primary mods are going to be better than crit damage, even if you take into account the fact that a lot of people have immunity to crit damage these days. That's a really common buff or effect that people can have, and the fact that he's not going to get those crits that often anyways, at least not super reliably, that you probably just want straight damage on him. The other thing is he gets so much turn meter and so many bonus turns, you don't need a lot of speed on him. I've only got 262 speed, which this account is a lot of really fast mods, but I don't like to waste speed mods on a character that doesn't need them, absolutely. So even though he can do pretty well with speed, he can do some decent stuff. I haven't really ever needed him to be faster than this. So, health and protection, that's fine. If he's going with Ki-Adi-Mundi, then you can do some really weird stuff with him by jacking his health way, way up. Read Ki-Adi-Mundi's kit. It's very interesting how it would impact Yoda because he's a support. He's not an attacker, and so the support gets weird new things for, under Cam. And Cam isn't even the leader, but, I mean, just check this out, guys. I mean, he gains... when he does his basic, it does a special, and if it has less than 50% health, then he gains the buff. Let's see. So if they have more than 50% health, Yoda gains 40% turn meter and foresight. So how can you tell if he's got 50% or more health? It's the matter of if their health bar is yellow or red, then it's going to be less than 50% health. If it's in the green, then it's more, and he's going to be gaining that foresight. Well, not the foresight. I guess he gains that too. But anyways, when he does his AoE, he gains a bonus turn Grandmaster Yoda takes a bonus turn as long as there is one other living Jedi ally. So if you're going to try soloing something with him, which is generally not advised, then you're gonna have a bad day. His unstoppable force removes turn meter, and if they have less than 100% health, they can also be stunned. You don't want extra potency on him, or at least you don't want to prioritize that. And then finally, when he spreads his buffs, he also gets 35% turn meter and an additional 10% turn meter for each other living Jedi ally. Keep in mind that this ability is just not as good in 3v3 because you have fewer living Jedi allies. It's just how numbers work. So offense, less speed, and that's it. That's it, guys. You can go home. I mean, I put some crit chance on him for fun. But otherwise, that's what we've got, folks. Just offense, offense. Even an offense arrow is really good on him. Lots of offense in the secondaries if you can find them and afford them. And that's it. Darth Traya is an interesting one, guys, and I'm working on a faction essentials for her and her team. It's almost ready, actually. Well, at least the theory stuff is. So her leadership, if you're going to be taking her as lead, even if not, you probably want her to be resilient. She's built to be very, very resilient. Any team she's on, she's going to help do that as long as she's with Sith. So she gets 40% crit avoid and plus 40% potency. The potency is okay, but you don't have to focus that too much. She also, deals damage and stuff based on her lead, blah, 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 blah. She's also going to be applying, so she does special damage as well. So targets enemy, daze them for 2 turns, so you want some potency if you can. She also inflicts debuffs on allies to target enemy. So if she has a bunch of debuffs on one of her teammates, which doesn't happen too long if you read her kit, they kind of go away. But for 1 turn, which is nice, she can do the Saber Storm that does extra damage, does healing immunity. Like she wants some potency if you can, but you also want her to be very, very thick, guys. So she's going to be doing. You also want to do some damage with her because she's gaining a bunch of stacking offense when allied Darth Nihilus or Scion are crit or inflicted with a debuff. So if they have a ton of debuffs on them at some point, once she can really build up. Like she's just one-shots characters sometimes. It's really fun to see. In fact, the Saber Storm is very, very, very interesting in that regard. So how do I ever mod it? I have her kind of fast right now. I have some speed mods because I want her to be able to get a word in edgewise when possible. But then otherwise, I just have her health. Some people put offense mods on her, and I think that can be okay. But really, especially if she's the lead, she wants to be so thick. She also wants to never get crit. And because her leadership helps her not get crit, I also add a crit avoid arrow. So, or at least typically, yeah. So yeah, we have the crit avoid arrow. She also gets it from getting relic levels, so that's why she has more than just that crit avoidance arrow. As she gets relics, she gains more crit avoid. Now, the extra offense on her would be nice, but health is good because she doesn't regenerate her protection at all, and she gets boosts to her health. And so we have fast stuff on her, we have healthy stuff on her, and I mean, she's not that fast. She's what are you, Traya? 276. I mean, that's okay. It's nothing too crazy, but lots of health, guys. Lots of health. Crit avoid. Make her super duper duper tanky, please. Who's next? Kyle Katarn is another interesting one. We just got a ship for him. So you probably want 6 E-mods because I'm guessing that ship's going to be relevant. I'm not really sure. But there's a few different things going on with him. So he's going to be fast, and you want him to be faster than anyone is, typically, because he's going to start that turn meter train buildup. But you don't need him at some point. Speed is just kind of wasted on him. So like 280 speed gets him to an effective 400 speed to start with. 290 speed, who knows how much that gets him to a, you know, at least 410 speed, right? But you don't need him that much faster, guys. The thing is, you really want potency and offense on him. He's one of those characters that it's like, man, I need to get him relic 8 because he does so much damage. But the thing is, guys, there's so much more that's going on with him. So offense, yes, he does a lot of damage. He hits really hard. He's very strong. The other piece of it, though, guys, is he does, on his own turn, he inflicts ability block on his basic, which is super nice. On this one, on this Throne Saber one, it's pretty nice. This one just does a lot of damage and everything. All allies gain crit chance up and potency up, so the potency is kind of nice. So this one's cool. And all that, you know, it's pretty one-dimensional. This one is also really good, though. This is the one where it's like does an AoE once you have the force influence, I believe. Yeah, so yeah, to all enemies and inflict force influence on enemy for 2 turns, or once he finally gets to be a Jedi, you can put it on all of them, maybe? I don't remember. Yeah, inflict force influence on all enemies for 2 turns. But here's the thing, guys. This is one that really helps you on your team. If you're with a Mon Mothma team, I should make sure you understand that too. Dispel all debuffs on all Rebel fighter allies, which is super nice, actually. That's something. Sometimes I'll hold this one just so that I can, if I know everyone's going to get debuffed, this one can help me, because Mon Mothma can dispel things, but sometimes she needs to be dispelled. Well, ironically, he doesn't actually dispel anything on her, but what happens is, once she finally gets a turn, if she's like dazed or something, then she'll cleanse on herself if everyone else is cleansed. So you want that. So then they all gain defense up and they gain speed up, which is very interesting. It means that POW is going to be able to start going faster, you know, and that's the one you want to kind of bridge to. You want POW to be able to bridge. So sometimes you want to do the basic with him just so that he can give an extra 5% turn meter to POW, or maybe we want to do the speed up. That's what I want to redo the Rebel Fighter Faction Essentials to talk about the bridge between Kyle Katarn and POW, but that's just something to keep in mind, folks. I need to do the math of it and everything, but the basic will give POW extra turn meter. The speed up might end up being better than anything else, and this force influence is really nice. So, you know, the force influence is you can't assist, you can't counterattack, or gain buffs, which is nice. You can put it on a tank, and if they haven't taunted yet, they can't taunt. Super nice stuff. So, how do I end up distributing all of this stuff? He ends up with a decent amount of speed, 80% potency, and then if you can find some tenacity for him, that would be fantastic. The whole team really benefits from being super tenacious, so if you can do that, that's wonderful. Or if you can get a Datacron that gives him that, then that's also pretty good. And then otherwise, I mean, you want 6 E mods, guys. You want offense because he's also gaining a bunch. He's stacking offense over time. So like Wampa, you'll see some people, you know, try to kill a Mon Mothma team with Wampa, and you know it can be successful. Kyle Katarn is the reason that fails, though. He's the one who's like, you know what, Wampa, I'm just gonna one-shot you. You are dead now because I'm a Jedi like my father before me, etc. So offense and potency on him if you can. You don't have to have excessive speed, but you do need enough speed. And that's it, guys. This is over. Thank you so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. I would love to hear them. Also, remember to thumbs up, etc. Mount the algorithm, and stuff. Thanks, guys. Take care.